This is the INKPULP podcast. This is the INKPULP podcast. Comics, hip hop, life. Welcome to the INKPULP podcast. I'm your host, Sean Crystal. Today is an art demo. I'm inking a redesign of Batman that I did for fun, and I'll talk about that as we go along. I want to make you aware, as you're watching these podcasts, there's a focus on instruction, on teaching, on art knowledge, and that's intentful. Is that a word? That's done with intent. Because I have a new business called INKPULP Instruction, link in the comments, link at the top of my YouTube page, link on Farside TV, I believe. And the goal of this is to offer you, I'm talking right to you, art education at a affordable price from the minds of the great artists of today. Okay? So check the link out, and if you click on it, sign your email. Give us your email on the website in exchange for a free mini lesson. It's free. You got nothing to lose, and that's good because it gives you a taste of what I'm offering in INKPULP Instruction. My goal is releasing a new episode every other month. These are the full episodes. They're about 3 to 4 hours in length, chock full of information while being entertaining. This is kind of like a new thing here. It's not this dry academic stuff. And while you're so every other month, sorry, my mind's all over the place, a new episode comes out. I'm also building these mini episodes that are going to be a lot less money even, that will offer you some insight into techniques, materials, whole slew of different things. But hop on board now early. Start getting yourself these episodes because they're just coming. I've got 2021 done and it's coming out. I am now filming for 2022. So that's about it. I've taken up too much of your time. Enjoy this episode of the INKPULP podcast as we ink the Dark Knight. Peace. All right, here we are. Today we're inking Batman. This is something that started out as a print I was going to make, and then NFTs hit, and then it was an NFT I was going to make, and then DC shut that down. But I am pretty confident they're going to reopen that to us because this would be a great NFT. Anyways, let's talk about technique and procedure. So here I am making this Batman piece. It's my redesign, which I'm very happy with, and that bat logo on the back of his cape was a total accident. And this is amazing to me when this happens with art. And it happened the other day when I was on Zoom with the Far Side and DJ Mike Realm with some designs I did. They kind of saw something that I had drawn in a different way than I saw it. And when I did this sketch, I was showing it to Tommy Lee Edwards and Mahfood, and both of them commented they loved the logo on the back of the cape like that. And all I had done was created a shadow that followed his anatomy, but it looked like the top of the bat. And I was like, oh, I got to do that. So I thought it was a cool way to redesign it. You can see the first strokes I made on the cape, I was really just wanting a very dry brush effect. And there's a lot of this dry brush stuff going on in my work always. And on this piece here, I decided to go back to a Winsor Newton Series 7 size 3. This is what I inked Arkham Manor with. The Raphaels are what I've been using more recently. Well, I go back and forth. The difference is the Raphaels are a stronger, sturdier brush. They have more bounce, but the tip isn't as long and as fine. So I kind of fall into these habits where when I'm using a Raphael too much, my ink work becomes too simplified and I miss a lot of smaller details. So I go back to a Winsor Newton, and then I feel like I'm getting all these tiny little details, and then I get too detailed and I go back to Raphael. It's kind of a cycle. I can't say I prefer one over the other. It's good to have the give and take of both, and I enjoy. Right now I'm in a phase where I really want to be leaning more into the animated side of my drawing, because I go back and forth between a more illustrative style and a more animated style. And right now I want to really push and explore the animated style. So I kept that in mind when I was drawing this, and inking a more animated, like doing a drawing with a more animated style means a simpler drawing, but that opens up a realm of opportunity for a more detailed ink process. I remember being in grad school and thinking to myself, what is my style? And my two biggest influences at the time were Bruce Timm and Kevin Nolan. And I was like, that's what I think I am. I think I'm a combination of Bruce Timm and Kevin Nolan, stylistically. Not that I draw like either of them, but just that general idea. Bruce Timm is very simple shape based, very built for animation, and Kevin Nolan's much more illustrative inker. And I love inking. So my goal is to pencil more simply and then leave room for me to bring some illustrative techniques into the simple animated style of drawing. So that's kind of where my mind is as I'm inking this. This drawing wasn't terribly simple, but it wasn't terribly complicated. But I think maybe it was a result of this drawing that I came up with that idea to do that. Maybe that's what it was. So I'm just working this brush, getting it dry. The ink at this point is really nice and thick. You can see it's taking a little bit to dry. I've been using this batch of ink for a little while now, and it's getting pretty nice and thick. I apologize for the external noises. I have to be better about that. So with the Winsor Newton, like I said, it offers an opportunity to do a lot of fine line work. So I'm taking full advantage of that with this piece. And I had planned out my blacks a certain way. And like I said, I had planned this to be a print. Well, let me talk about that. So in the gloves there, where there's that like mesh material, that's all the tip of the brush. And that's the sort of thing where with a Raphael, I could do it. It just wouldn't be as fine. And getting back to the Winsor Newton, I'll explain what that was in a second. Getting back to the Winsor Newton allowed me to kind of get back in touch with some fine line work, and got me thinking along those lines a little more. I think ideally what I'm trying to get to, and I think I've been trying to get here for over 10 years, is inking my thumbnails with a light box with a brush. So my thumbnails would be very simple shaped drawings, but fully communicative in terms of the staging, the acting, and all that. And then trusting in myself to just lightbox it from there and create an ink drawing. So what the phone was, what you were seeing with my phone, I'll take a second to explain it while this is going on. I am on TikTok, and I'm trying to make these little TikTok videos to post as I'm working. So I was filming on one hand with my webcam, and then on the other hand, my phone. Now, this Batman logo that I've created, which I think is as much the star of the show as Batman is. Words and letters I love. I mean, having a background in graffiti and comics, I love when I can pull all my influences together, and I'm just more and more interested in doing that these days. So this is the type of thing where people ask me, why don't you just ink that with a pen? It's all straight line work. They say, wouldn't it be easier? And yes, it would be. And there's a few reasons why I do this. A, it's challenging. I feel like if you're always just going for what's easier, then you're not learning and you're not growing. You're just taking the easy path. I don't take the easy path in life in almost everything I do. So I'm going to have a coffee in a second here. So I should have done that beforehand. Everything. Yeah. So I like to challenge myself. And part of the thing with the brush was getting comfortable with it. I can do anything with a brush. And there's also a bit of me that just when I'm in the groove and I'm drawing, I don't want to be switching up tools. I hate that stop and start. I like to get going. So as I was inking myself more and more in the early days, it wasn't like I was saying, I need to learn to do this with a brush. It was just easier. I was like, let me just do this with a brush. And over time, I just got better at it. I have a very controlled and steady hand. People have said they've called me the surgeon, and I kind of like that term. But I had people on social media reach out, be like, "Wouldn't it be easier the other way?" And it's like, or someone said, "But why?" Like, look at that, the ruler with a brush. Like that took me a long time to get a handle of, but now that I have it, I don't need to switch tools. And someone said, "But why?" And these are the reasons, and that's why I'm explaining it. Also, the brush line for me has much more character to it. I can get a dry brush straight edge line. I can't get that with a pen. And if you're talking about like microns, I mean, there's plenty of people who get a lot of personality out of that. But me, it becomes very almost vector-like. So the brush really offers me an opportunity to bring a lot more character to the marks I'm making. And I also think it's cool to do something that's impressive. I mean, I think that's a great thing about art is I look at it and people look at it like just in awe of what someone can do. That's what art is to me. And I don't mean that just in the sense of visual art, but like I look at gymnasts or Cirque du Soleil performers. Like they have trained and worked so hard to be able to do things that are awe-inspiring with their body. And I think as humans, that's unique to us. And I feel like that's what art is. It's like you train yourself to do things that will inspire awe in others because it's so many years of dedication and practice have allowed you to do something most people didn't think was possible. And that to me is awesome. And that's a big part of why what I love about art. And that's a big part of why I use the brush for everything. It's there's a micron for a little bit of lettering there. That was it. All right, people. Thank you for watching this lovely episode of the Ink Pulp Podcast. This is the Ink Pulp Podcast. This is the Ink Pulp Podcast. Comics, hip hop, life.